Yesterday, the RB22 broke down. Hydraulic failure. Half a day lost. Ford partnership under pressure. The paddock started whispering. Was this the first sign Red Bull had gone too far? Less than 24 hours later, Max Verstappen delivered one of the most controlled performances of the entire Bahrain preseason test. 56 laps without a single issue. 326 km/h in the speed trap. An 18-lap race simulation with almost no tire degradation. 0.05 of a second per lap drop-off. That is not recovery. That is domination through adaptation. But here is what makes this even more dangerous. Red Bull introduced major aerodynamic changes overnight. New side pods. Reworked front wing. Floor refinements. Most drivers would need days to adjust. Max needed hours. While rivals were fighting rear instability, Verstappen looked calm. Minimal steering input. Neutral balance. Complete control. So the real question is simple. Did we just witness the exact moment Verstappen fully mastered the Ford-powered RB22 before the season even started? Because if this level of synchronization continues, the championship fight may already be shifting back toward Red Bull. Subscribe now, because what happens next in Bahrain could decide far more than a preseason headline. Let's go back to the moment everything flipped. Day 1 in Bahrain felt uncomfortable inside the Red Bull garage. Hydraulic pressure dropped unexpectedly. Systems were unstable. Valuable track time disappeared. And Max Verstappen did something telling. He stopped. He could have stayed out. He could have gathered meaningless laps. He could have protected appearances. He chose not to. That decision matters. Because when a reigning champion refuses to continue, it sends a message inside the team. Do not patch it. Fix it properly. Overnight, the engineers went deep. They did not just replace a pump. They inspected the entire hydraulic circuit. Changed components preventively. Recalibrated system parameters. Reviewed integration with the Ford power unit. And when the RB22 rolled out again at 9:05 the next morning, it was not simply repaired. It was refined. The Bahrain specification package was fully deployed. Reshaped side pods with a tighter waist. Higher air inlet positioned like a narrow mailbox. An aggressive undercut channeling air directly toward the diffuser. That design reduces drag and improves rear floor efficiency at the same time. Which explains the 326 km/h speed trap figure without slipstream. But straight line speed alone does not create domination. Stability does. And that is where the front wing update becomes critical. Red Bull introduced a subtle scooped central section to reduce pitch sensitivity. Under heavy braking, when the nose dips forward, aerodynamic load remains consistent instead of collapsing. That allows Verstappen to brake later, harder, and rotate the car aggressively without destabilizing the rear. If you understand his driving style, you understand how powerful that is. He attacks the entry phase. He commits early. He thrives when the front end responds instantly. On day 2, it did. By midday, Verstappen had completed 56 laps. 0 mechanical issues. But the lap time context is even more revealing. 1 minute 31.793. Second fastest of the session. Set on used C3 tires. With medium fuel. While others used fresh rubber for headline runs. That is controlled confidence. Not desperation. But the real statement came in the afternoon. Red Bull stopped chasing single-lap attention. They loaded the car with fuel. Mounted C3 tires. And ran an 18-lap race simulation. Average pace in the high 1 minute 37 range. Degradation? Around 0.05 of a second per lap. Almost flat. That tells you the RB22 is operating inside a wide performance window. It is not peaky. It does not collapse when tires age. It maintains balance. And here is where Verstappen's adaptation becomes frightening. Onboard footage shows minimal steering correction. No mid-corner wrestling. No nervous rear snaps. He places the car once, and it holds the line. That only happens when driver and machine are synchronized. And that synchronization arrived less than 24 hours after a mechanical failure. That speed of adaptation is rare. Most drivers need days to rebuild confidence after a systems issue. Max needed a morning session. And then, late in the day, he delivered a final reminder. C4 compound. 1 clean push lap. 1 minute 30.980. Not a desperate attempt to top the charts. Just enough to signal that qualifying pace is still present. Ferrari may still hold a slight edge over 1 lap. Perhaps 1/10. Maybe 2. But Red Bull's message was clear. We are not sacrificing Saturday. We are prioritizing Sunday. And if this degradation profile remains consistent, strategy becomes their weapon. Longer opening stints. Greater flexibility. Pressure on rivals to react. Still, there are unanswered questions. Hydraulic reliability must hold under full race stress. The Ford power unit integration must prove durable across hotter conditions. And the final day of testing may reveal hidden qualifying modes. But one thing is already exposed. The crisis did not weaken Verstappen. It sharpened him. The RB22 is not just operational. It is stable. And when Max Verstappen feels stability this early in a season, history suggests something dangerous is coming. But here is where this story becomes even more serious. Because what we are seeing is not just performance. It is structural confidence. When a car suffers a hydraulic failure in preseason testing, the normal reaction is caution the next day. Short runs. System checks. Conservative mapping. That is not what Red Bull did. They ran 56 laps in the morning. Then committed to a full race simulation in the afternoon. That tells you something important. They trust the fix. And more importantly, Verstappen trusts it. Trust changes driving behavior instantly. Look at the braking zones in Bahrain. Turn 1 is heavy and downhill. Turn 10 is awkward and easy to lock the front. Yesterday, those corners would have been approached carefully. Today, Verstappen attacked them. Late braking. Sharp rotation. Early throttle application. That means the aerodynamic platform is stable under pitch. The rear does not snap when weight transfers forward. And that stability comes directly from the Bahrain specification updates. The reshaped side pods improve airflow to the rear floor. The vortex generators ahead of the rear wheels seal the diffuser from turbulent air. That increases rear grip in high-speed sections. And when rear grip is predictable, tire degradation drops. Now connect this to race strategy. If degradation remains around 0.05 of a second per lap over long runs, Red Bull opens strategic options. They can extend stints. They can attempt fewer pit stops. They can react to safety cars without panic. That flexibility wins races. Still, there is tension in the background. Ferrari appears slightly more explosive over 1 lap. Their engine deployment looks aggressive. Their car warms tires quickly. So qualifying might still lean red. But racing is not decided by a single lap. It is decided by consistency over 20. And in Bahrain so far, the RB22 looks like the most consistent package. There is also the psychological layer. When Verstappen ended the day with that 1 minute 30.980, he did not celebrate. He parked the car calmly. Helmet off. Composed. Because the objective was not headlines. It was confirmation. Confirmation that the car responds exactly as he demands. Confirmation that the Ford integration is thermally stable. Confirmation that yesterday's crisis was temporary. Now imagine the rest of the grid watching that transformation. 1 day of vulnerability. The next day, metronomic race pace. Minimal degradation. Strong straight line speed. Smooth steering inputs. That sends a message without words. We adapt faster than you. And that might be the most dangerous element of all. Because Formula One development is a race of reaction speed. If Red Bull can identify a weakness, correct it overnight, and immediately return to race pace form, their development curve becomes difficult to match. The final day of preseason testing will be critical. Can they unlock more single-lap performance? Will the hydraulic system remain flawless under higher stress? Are they still hiding engine modes? We do not have those answers yet. But we do have one undeniable fact. Max Verstappen's adaptation to the Ford-powered RB22 happened almost instantly. And when driver and car synchronize this early, the championship conversation changes. Because the fastest car can be challenged. The most stable car, driven by a fully confident Verstappen, is far harder to beat. And Bahrain may have just revealed which version of Red Bull we are going to see this season.